So you also said in that article, which I think is so interesting, motivated people are often busy. And I think this busyness is a big piece of this. People are often busy, but that busyness does not make someone motivated. What did you mean? What do you mean by that?
So when we are motivated and we know what we want to do, oftentimes we are doing a lot of that, whatever it is that makes us happy and keeps us motivated. On the other hand, though, that wasn't the cause. That's the outcome of feeling motivated, not the cause for motivation. So what parents often do when they have a child who's unmotivated is just schedule them for more things. They just put more things in their calendar thinking that they're going to find something, or by keeping them busy, they're going to be motivated, when actually it's the opposite. That yes, motivated people are often busy, but they're also often spinning their wheels too. They're oftentimes thinking about, what do I want to do for the next step of my life? Or where do I want to go? What's making me happy? They reassess their busyness too. We think about, oh gosh, I've been so busy. I want to take this off my plate or do more of this. And so that's all a necessary part of motivation, but it's the outcome. It's not the reason for the motivation.
Okay. So, yeah. So we want our kids to be busy, but we want them to be a part of it, a driver of maybe of this busyness. I'm thinking like adolescence plus, like when kids are smaller, kids need, from my perspective, like kids need a lot more free time. And I'm wondering if that's part of this, is that we're driven by this. Like, I want my kids to do well. I want them to do all these things. I want them to keep up with everybody. So we're filling all that time when they're young, like this pre-adolescence time, with too much, so they don't actually get to know what are the things that drive them and motivate them or make them curious about life.
That's absolutely true. We really can't just figure out, like spin our wheels and figure out what we love if we don't have time to do it. Think about it, the creative process really requires time to do nothing. It's not like writers or painters or anyone else who's thinking of something from the ground up. They don't do that by fitting it in around their schedule. They're able to create because they have time to think. And a lot of kids don't have that kind of time. And parents are nervous. We don't want to be the only one left out. We don't want our child not being the only one who's not in the soccer league in town or not in the school play or whatever it is. And some of that, of course, is really great. But we never ask our kids what makes them happy. And we don't have those sorts of discussions. What are you really doing? What do you really want to do? What's your desire about this current school year or this summer or whenever? We never really have those conversations. And I've had parents say to me, I don't want to ask them what makes them happy because I might not like it. And that is an issue. I think they were afraid that in this case that I'm thinking of, the child might say, I just like playing video games. That's all I want to do. And for the most part, kids really don't love playing video games. They like it and they'll do it, but we don't love scrolling through Instagram, but we do it and it's fine. But none of us really love spending that much time doing those things. Sometimes we do it because we're stressed and overwhelmed. And sometimes we do it, especially kids do it because it's a way of being connected to others. But then other times it's really just, I don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to get on and play video games for a while.
Okay. All right. So if we have a bright kid who's not caring less, a kid who's feeling unmotivated, I'm hearing a bunch of different sort of reasons maybe for that. Society's expectations, kids are being too busy, parents are nervous and therefore maybe pushing our kids to be too busy. And also we're not asking the kids, we're not involving them and not asking them what they want. Did I miss anything?
No, you're right. And I would say too that there is this issue that kids these days have a lot of pressure, but not enough responsibility,
Oh,
meaning that we put a lot of pressure on them to get the right kind of grades, to be doing the right sort of things in the right kinds of activities, but we don't give them a lot of responsibility. And kids, for the most part, love responsibility. They love, even if it's simply as being able to walk home from school independently or with their friends, being able to, when I was a kid, you asked what's changed. That's a big part of what's changed is that we were responsible for getting ourselves home. We were responsible for watching a younger sibling. We were responsible to get a job, to mow the neighbor's lawn, whatever it was. And we don't have, kids don't have time for those sorts of things now, but they love it. And even kids who have issues in school can be quite successful. An unmotivated 14-year-old in school might be very motivated to have a job at the neighborhood coffee shop or something like that because it's a job they can do. People are depending on them. They feel like an adult. So anytime we can push a child in that way, that's a real positive. But we tend to push them in the other way, which is academically or performance oriented.
Yeah, I could see that. My daughter, who's 16, she just went that we had a local bookstore open up again in Wilmington. Yay, we're so happy.
Hey.
Shout out to Huxley and Hero. And she was so excited about it and found out that someone we knew in the neighborhood worked there. And so she called our friend and went to the bookstore, met the owner, brought herself a resume complete with recommended books that she likes, and now she's going to be working there part-time through. And so I'm so thrilled for her, but it was all her own doing. I did nothing except drive her to the bookstore.
Yeah, this is wonderful. I think it's the number one thing. If I could change one thing about childhood in America right now, it may be two things. One would be to get kids sleeping better, which is big.
Mm.
But the other thing would be to have these sorts of jobs. We used to have this everybody had a job when I was in high school. Now this is not the norm, and she will learn more in this job than at any other place. And she's going to be motivated to do the other sorts of things so that she can get to her job. And she sounds like a super motivated kid anyway. But I've seen other kids who are not on the outside motivated do the same sorts of things because it's about that independence and that responsibility that kids crave.